You know, we need to spend time with our children if we're going to impact their lives. Let me give you some suggestions that maybe I learned the hard way in life of what we need to do. I used to sit down at the table with Dottie before we even had kids. And I've always just loved to read the newspaper while I'm eating breakfast and having coffee. And one time Dottie just got fed up with it and she said, "Honey, can you please not read the newspaper? We have no conversation at the table. And I sit here and you're reading the paper the whole time." I went, you know, I never even thought about that. From that day on, I don't think I've ever read a newspaper at a meal since then. And boy, has that paid off with my children. And I challenge you to look at mealtime as a chance to turn off your phone, turn off the TV, and just focus on your children. You know what research shows out of Columbia University? That the more kids have a meal with their parents, the healthier they are, the better grades at school, the less antisocial behavior, and the more they desire to be at home. Directly correlated with the amount of time they spend at meals with the parents. Make sure those times are productive. And then turn off your cell phone when you're with your child. Come on, the world will run without you. Turn your cell phone off for maybe a half hour, whatever it is, when you're in the car with your child so you can focus on them. And then be careful not to let other people interrupt your time with your children. Let me personally illustrate that. I lived up in the old town of Julian, 40 miles up in the mountains out of San Diego, one of the top tourist towns in California. And people started to learn that I was living up there. So on weekends especially, they would drive up there just to see if they could see me in the street and talk to me. So I'd be having a date with my son or my daughter, say with Katie. And almost every time I went downtown, somebody would come up and say, "Oh, aren't you Josh McDowell?" And I said, "Yes." So, well, you know, they say something like, "Well, I drove all the way from Los Angeles. I drove from Escondido up here. Just hoping to find you. Could we talk?" And you know what I always say? No. You say, "But they drove all that?" Then they should have contacted me ahead of time. Because I would say, "Look, I'm on a date with my daughter." And you know what that said to my child? I am so important to my daddy. Now, once in a while, if I sense, you know, maybe I need to talk to this person, I would always ask permission. One time with Sean, it was a medical doctor that drove up from Scripps Institute. And I said, "Sean, is it okay if we go and have coffee?" He said, "Sure, Dad." Oh, let me tell you, this man was writing a book on sexuality and wanted to interact on it. My son sat there all ears. And it was one of the best lessons on morality my son could ever have had. But that was a rarity. Normally I would say to people, no matter how important they were, "I'm sorry, this is my time with my child."